I love giving life to old things, creating and crafting. I'm Kathy with Goodson Vintage Treasures, and welcome to my channel. Watch how I created this fall table runner from drop cloth. I'm Kathy Goodson, and I'm the owner of Goodson Vintage Treasures, where I sell DIY paint and IOD and antiques and collectibles and a lot of other JRV stencils and stencil brushes and decoupage paper, so on GoodsonVintageTreasures.com. We're going to be making a table runner. I've already started it. I started one end of it. This table runner is made out of drop cloth, just like I did my chair seats, if you watch that. And I'm going to show you a couple ways, if you don't like to draw, a couple ways for you to create your own pumpkins. Find a list of all the materials used in this project in the description below. Okay, so what we have is just a piece of drop cloth. I'm going to be using basically 5 or 6 DIY colors. I'm going to be using Little Black Dress. I'm going to be using Aviary, Skeleton Key. I'm going for a not loud, dark look. I'm going for a muted look today. I'm going to be using Summer Crush, White Swan, and I'm also going to be adding some fabric medium. Doesn't matter what kind you use, or you can use liquid patina. Hopefully. And so one way, if you have a silhouette cameo or a crick cut or something like that, you can cut yourself a stencil. Now, if you don't have one of those, you can buy yourself a stencil. There are pumpkin stencils of many kinds out there in the craft stores. I don't have a pumpkin stencil. Jamie Ray has one, but I neglected to buy it, so by the time I get it, it's going to be too late this year. So, okay, so this just is like a sticker, and I'm going to put this, I'm going to turn him a little bit. I don't want him to be straight, and I'm just going to stick this on. And it has a piece of plastic on top, kind of like clear contact paper. So one thing to do if you're not an artist or you don't think you can draw a pumpkin is to do what I'm doing right here. Get you a stencil, or make you a stencil. Now I'll keep them apart a little bit. I'm gonna make sure it get back up. Or make you a stencil. Brush, and I'm going to dip it in some black paint, and to this black paint I have added the fabric medium. And what you add, whether you're using liquid patina or just a fabric medium, it's usually twice as much medium as paint. And I don't want this paint to be real harsh. Now if you don't like that black outline look, skip this part. So what I'm going to do is just do a little bit of outline. And I don't need it to be a lot. I don't have to do it this way. I just decided I want a black outline on mine. And one thing you have to do is don't hold your brush just like I did over your project, because you can get drips. Okay, so there's my little pumpkin outline. Okay, another way to get a pumpkin outline, we'll paint that in a little bit, is to just print out a pumpkin. I printed this one out on some heavier paper, and I'm just going to set it. I want it to overlap a little bit, so I'm just going to set it right here. And again, I'm going to take my black paint. This is Little Black Dress with some fabric medium in it, and I'm just going to outline it just a little. Then I'm going to take my black paint and put some lobes in it for the parts of the pumpkin. I also made a stencil of some leaves. You could make your own stencil, or you can purchase a stencil. I'm going to use the Jamie Ray Vintage stencil brush to stencil the leaves, and I'm going to use Summer Crush And I'm going to lighten it a little bit with some white swan. And of course I added the fabric medium. Sometimes that's called textile medium. And I'm just going to pounce it on to make the leaf shape. And yes, you could go buy you a table runner, but it's much more fun to make your own. And if you already have some DIY paint, cut you out a pumpkin shape and a leaf shape, and you can do this at home. Okay, so I'm going to do this pumpkin white. So I think I'll do this one. I'm going to do this pumpkin the lighter color. And again, I just want some light colors. I don't want real dark colors. I'm going to avoid painting over the black because it may pick up and smear, so since I didn't give it much drying time. I'll let this dry 24 hours, and then I'll heat set it with an iron, a hot iron with a cloth on top of it. The next pumpkin I painted swan white with some textile medium in it. The last little pumpkin I'm going to paint skeleton key watered down, and I'm going to add just a little bit of that skeleton key to the white pumpkin to give it some accent and some dimension. Then I'm going to add just a little bit of aviary for the stems, and I'm going to add some aviary to the orange pumpkin again for dimension. I'm going to stencil a couple more leaves. These are smaller ones, and I'm going to add the green aviary to the leaves for some details on the leaves. And then a couple leaves on the pumpkin. In the center of the table runner, I'm going to add a stencil of a JRV vintage truck. I'm going to add some pumpkins in the back of the truck. I use paper tape to hold this stencil down, and again I'm going to use the JRV stencil brush available at GoodsonVintage Treasures, as well as the stencil. The old farm truck with the skeleton key lightened up with white swan. Once I had all the blue parts, or the skeleton key parts done, I'm going to do the truck wheels and the back wood parts of the truck in little black dress. I'm going to let that dry, and then I later will add the pumpkins. To add some wording to my table runner, I'm going to use farmhand IOD letter stamps. I'm going to use the IOD ink pad and the black ink. It's permanent ink. I'm going to put the words on a piece of thin mount and press it down. And I didn't quite get all this on film. I only have one set of letters, so I'll have to take the L off and use it again. I'm putting fall, sweet, fall. Need to press over each part of the letter when you use these stamps. Again, the stamp is available at GoodsonVintageTreasures.com. It's called Farmhand. Now I'm going to stamp a piece of wheat on the end. The wheat comes from Sprigs, another IOD stamp. Look how great it looks on my table with my pottery. It's perfect for fall. You can get all the products I've used here at Goodson Vintage Treasures except for the drop cloth and the textile medium. And of course some of the these stencils that I made myself. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that little bell to be reminded of other videos like this when I publish them. Thanks for watching.